Hi everybody, this is Tina with Rehatch Designs, and I am coming to you with part 3 of our little Golden Book series. And what I want to do is sew in the signatures today, and then if we have time we will go ahead and make the tassel, just do a little other work on here. But that's our goal today, and hopefully we'll get it all done. If not, we'll have to have a part 4, but I'm going to try and keep it to just this, okay? First off, the last time we were together, we went ahead and prepared our pages to put in our journal, and the first one we did the cover of the journal, so those are on a playlist, so go back and look at those. If you're interested, we will go ahead and, look through those and just see how we got to this part. Okay, so first off, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you guys are kind of hanging out, getting some crafting done, maybe starting some Christmas stuff. I don't know. It may be too soon for you, but all I know is it really snuck up on me last time. So anyway, guys, for today, you're going to need your thread that you're going to sew in your signatures with. And I use this wax thread that I got on Amazon. I use this color. It's kind of an off-white color, and I like it, so I use it. I don't know. It's not expensive for a big spool of it. I have multicolors too, but I mainly use that. You're going to need... I use part of a file folder for this, and I have kind of a template that I've already made that I use over and over again. And this is my, let's see, I have Reader's Digest, I have another book, Golden Book. See, this is it right here. And this is for 3 signatures. And I think this one's for 3 signatures, I believe. Or maybe, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I see, I did it both. Okay, here we go. That's the 2 signature one. Okay, so anyway, I have a template that I've already done, but I'm gonna kind of walk you through it. I've had other videos out on how to do this. What I do to make my template is I just take whatever this width is, which I think ours is 2 inches. Yeah, 2 inches. And then I cut out a piece of, and I like it heavier than paper because you're punching holes in it, and I reuse it. So I basically cut it out to this size, okay, so 2 inches for the width. And I believe it's about 8 inches for the height. Let me see. Yeah, just about, a little under 8, tiny bit under. And so basically I cut it out so it's the exact width and height of my spine, okay? And then what I do is I fold my piece of paper in half. And that tells me that's the middle, okay? And you need the middle because you need to know where the middle is when you are doing your signatures, when you're punching those holes. You will use that middle, okay? Then what I do is after I fold it in the middle, I split that in half. You can either measure that, like whatever this amount is here. Okay, so that's 1 inch. So that means a 1/2 inch of this, okay? Half of 1 inch is going to be a 1/2 inch. So then you draw a line down there, and the top of that and the top of that and the middle. So I fold it in half. You know, it might be easier for me just to show you another one. But anyway, after I do that, I fold it, I find the middle of each, I draw a line, and then I fold it in half, okay? Although you could measure it. and that gets me the middle. And I put dots 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and what that does is it tells me where the middle is, where I'm going to punch my holes for my signature, and it also tells me where I'm going to put my holes for in my spine to put my signatures in. And you'll see me do that to kind of give you an idea of what I'm doing. I don't know if I explained it that well. I probably should have just done it for you, that way, you know, you could see it. But I do have another video on that, and I'll link it in there so you guys can see. I explain it a little slower. Anyway, because we have a lot to cover today, so I'm trying to get it all done in this video so I don't torture you for another one. What I do is I will take this that I've measured, okay? This should fit right in there, okay? And if you want to, you can kind of clip that so it doesn't move or something. A lot of times I don't, but you can. Probably safer to if you're new, new at it, so it doesn't move while you're doing it, and get your holes off a little. What I do then is I go through, and these holes on this side and that side, not in the middle. The middle is what we're going to use to do for our signature. But we're only putting 2 signatures in, so we're going to punch this hole and that hole, this hole, that hole, this hole, that hole, okay? And you can start anywhere. There's no rhyme. And you have to have an awl or a pokey tool or even a sharp needle to do this. And I'm doing that. You don't want your holes too big, but then you want them at least big enough that you can see them and they're already there. Right. And I just take it and punch it. Make sure you don't punch your hand, because I've done it. And hold it and punch it. And this is a little hard to punch through because we've got a lot in there. We've got fabric and chipboard, and then we've got our Tyvek. So that's a lot to go through. But once you punch the holes, you're not going to have any trouble, getting through this with your needle. All right, so there we go. So now I have punched my holes for where my signatures are going to go, okay? So they are in there. I can see them. So we're doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, nice and easy. You can do it if you want to do a 5-hole, whatever. I think 3-hole for the golden books for sure are fine. One thing that we might want to do, and this is something that is optional, is that I take, if it's a book that's damaged a lot, this one isn't too bad, but I definitely would do this. I'm not going to do it in this video just because I think you guys have seen me do this before, but you can just take, this is wax paste or even a paint, and go around the edges just to add a little bit of, tiny bit of sparkle around there. But also what it does, if your book is a little messed up, of course you want to clean it and get off what you can. There was some glue on here, but I got most of it off. There's a little residue left. You don't want to, cover that much of the original book, I don't think. But, you want to kind of, there's some rough spots. And if you have those, that's what I use. I just use that and go around the book, and that kind of helps it kind of, to me. All right, I just try not to get this stuff all over my fingers because I really don't want to mess with it right now. So let me try and get a brush here, tiny bit of water, and then we'll do that because my paste is very dried up. Okay, so I'm going to try doing it this way so I don't get too messy. All right, but you can just take it and go around the edges if it's kind of a messed up, a little older book like this one is. Now we're going to be covering that up, but if you weren't going to, you could just do that on the edge, And I don't worry about being overly neat. I just take it, and you can do it with your finger, you can do it with a brush, And all you're doing is just adding a little, just to the worn edges of the book. It actually does go better with your finger. And that's what I do to help take care of that part of the book if it's a vintage book. And most vintage books will have some wear and tear. I've seen some that don't, but most of them do. And you're going to do a little bit more up here. I don't think I put very much over there. Okay, so anyway, that's kind of what I do. Do it for the back, since I have it on the brush anyway. And I do that just to kind of, I go over the little cardboard edges there and then go have a little bit extra going this way. This stuff dries really quick, so it's not really an issue in using it. And like I said, you could do this after, you know, it's probably smarter to do it now so that you don't get any on the actual, you know, book or pages. But anyway, so put that up. So you can do that. The other thing that you can do, here, I'll clean that up. I won't clean my hands. I like to sometimes put corners on if the corners are kind of beat up, just because I think it looks a little fancier. You know, we're trying to upgrade this book, so I do have these that I bought off of Amazon. I really have no idea what the brand is or anything, but I take just these little corners. They were not that expensive, and I will put those on. And usually when I do these, I put a dab of glue in there with it. Oh, I've left my glue upside down, but I don't think it's going to come out. Well, I'll just have to use my tacky glue. Really should use a strong glue with this. I don't know if this, I've never used tacky glue on it, but okay. Oop, I put too much. I always put a little glue in there so it'll stick, but I actually put way too much in there, so we'll put some in this one. Or you could put it on the corner. But what I do, get some of that glue off my hands. You just put it on, okay? And they fit pretty good on there. And then I take my pliers, and you want to be careful you don't over squeeze it. And I put the glue to help keep it on. And I just squeeze it just a tiny bit. And you can see the glue's coming out. Okay. That back in there, it kind of went out of shape. When you squeeze it, sometimes it'll do that. Okay. And really, the best way to do it is to put something down so you're not squishing it, but I'm doing it kind of quick. So you want to do that and basically do that to all your corners. Like you can see, this one's kind of messed up a little bit, so get it around the edge. And I just squeeze it a tiny bit just to make sure it stays on. Okay. And do the other side. I think I'll put the glue on the book first. I think it'll work better. And like I said, you could definitely do this after. I'm just showing it to you now. And then put that in there. That one's kind of bent, so I don't know if it's going to work. All right. I'm going to get that in there and just tiny squeeze. You don't want to overdo it. Okay. And I don't know if I can get this one up. May have to just get another one. There we go. Let's try that now. And that glue will dry clear, so. But I do put glue on there. Usually I use my 3-in-1. It's probably a little bit stronger, but I need to get another bottle out because that one's gone. Okay, and I definitely bent that one up. There we go. Okay, so anyway, I do that, and then that kind of needs to dry. I do that, and what that does is that kind of, you know, jazzes it up a little bit, and I think it's a nice thing. If you wanted to get gold ones, these are kind of a coppery bronze color. They're okay. I just don't. Oh, there we go. Anyway, so that's what I do with that. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead while that's drying and get my signatures ready to put in my journal. Okay, so I have my pages where I want them. I go through and I look and I kind of shuffle them, and I do like this. And if you'll notice, once you push them all back like that, they're pretty even. If you have any sticking out, you can trim them. I don't worry about the pages being exactly lined up because what I do kind of disguises that, and I'll show you, but I do want them reasonably straight. I don't, every once in a while you'll cut one wrong or something. And what I usually do is I kind of go through all my pages and make sure they're where I want them. None are upside down because I've definitely done that. You know, where you, especially the smaller ones, they kind of move around sometimes. Put them where you want them. And this is the time to change things around if you don't like where they're at. There's, you know, definitely nothing in stone at this point. So, got all that. Put that up there. Okay, I feel pretty good about where everything is. And I'm going to go like that. I go like this, trying not to get the smaller pieces falling to the bottom. And if they do move, just kind of go back in before you sew it. And they look like they're in the right spot. Sometimes they move to the bottom when you do that, so then you're going to have to push them back up. Okay. Okay, that's exactly where I want everything. So what I'm going to do at this point is I am going to go ahead, and I've got these binder clips here, and I'm going to put those here. And I usually do one side, and I try and push down as much as I can on the other side to make it nice and tight. And sometimes I'll redo the other one if I think it needs to go down more. Okay, so like this, I think can go down a little bit more. You're trying to make it as tight to the middle as you can. I'm going to put that in again. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and put that over here on this side. I've got it bound. Okay, now if you want to, you can put some on these other sides. I usually don't bother, but what I do is I make sure everything's nice and tight and push it in, because that'll make your pages more even. If you see them coming out, it's because you have them, it's not tight enough. Okay, then I take my template that I have, and I am going to punch holes in these three middle ones. Okay, so this is the ones in the middle right here when we folded this in half, and then the top right here is where I'm going to put this on the top. Okay, and then line it up with the top, and it's important to have the top on where it says top and not put it on the bottom, because even though you've measured, you could be off a little bit. Okay, and then what I do is I don't put it in a cradle or do any of that. You can. I think it might be great. I've tried it. It doesn't, you know, I just don't really need it. I fold my journal as far close as I can at like this, okay, as if it would be in a cradle, and I hold it in my hand. If you notice how I have it in my hand, okay, and what I do is then I go and just punch my holes. Okay, And if you notice, I'll see if I can do this to where you can see it. It is going to come out where it's right on the fold, okay? If it shows up on either end, then you've done it wrong, okay? And that's what you accomplish when you have a cradle or you do it in a phone book or whatever. I just don't do that. So anyway, I hold it tight and I do the same thing here. It's going through, okay? And I'm going straight through, and it is going to go through the middle, okay? Oops, it moved a little bit, so I'm going to have to... And that's another thing too. If you want to, you can paper clip this in so it doesn't move as you're doing it. I used to do that. I don't really do that anymore, but you certainly can. Okay, let me see. All right, I don't like where this other one did its hole. That's because I was trying to show you guys and hold it up, but you really kind of have to hold it down. There we go. There we go, that's better. All right, so now these are done. I'm going to leave these clips on them, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and do the next one. Do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and first I'm going to make sure my pages are where I want them. None of them are upside down, because trust me, I have done that. I've put some in and some pages have been upside down. And the only thing to do with that is to start over and, you know, re-sew it in. Take it apart and re-sew it in. And I've done that many, many times. When I was first doing these, trust me, there was lots of things like that I did. So, you know, if you're new to it, you will too. And Little Golden Books are probably some of the really good ones to start with, because they're fun and easy, and I don't know, I just think they're a little bit easier than, you know, some of the other journals that are, you know, the covers are a little bit more decorated and things. These are a little bit easier to start out with, I think. Okay, so I've got everything where I want it. So I'm going to kind of make sure it's even on the bottom, like that. And then I'm going to go like that. And then I'm going to go look and make sure all my middle pieces didn't float to the bottom, because sometimes when you do that, they do, and they're all in the right place. Or they didn't go to the side or something like that. Okay, and this envelope, I want that over just a tiny. I want it kind of, you know, it's almost the same height, but a little bit shorter. So I always usually split the difference on things like that. Okay. And there's no rule that says your shorter pieces have to be in the middle, but that's usually where I put them. Okay. So now we've got all that, and this is the middle, and I'm going to push it down as far as I can go, just like I did before. Okay, as far as I can go down. And I'm going to clamp this. All right, and then I'm going to try and make sure this is down as far as it'll go. And clamp that. Let's see if I can get that in there. I can't, but that's all right. I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure the top is at the top. And this is what I was saying. Let me get my paper clips out so I can show you. You can take this. See how it moved on me last time? I've got this at the top. This says top. Make sure I do that. You can take this and paper clip it there. If that helps you, you know, keep it from moving. And I used to always do that. I don't normally. It usually doesn't move that much, but it could. So, I mean, if it does, you can line it up with the other holes like I did. Okay, see, I can feel that I've got room for this to go back in there a little bit more. So I'm going to push that down and reclamp it, okay, and reclip it. All right, see, is that in there good? You want it as tight as possible, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold it in as V as much as I can and still see my hole, okay? I hope you guys can see that as much as you can. All right, and then still see it. And then that's how I do it without putting it in a cradle. I just punch it through and it goes right through where it needs to go. And I do that 3 times right in the holes that are marked. Okay. And you do that and it'll end up right where it needs to be. Okay. Okay, so then I take my template off because I no longer need it. Okay. And I leave that. And what I'm going to do next, I don't need my awl anymore. I don't need my template. What I do need at this point is my needle. Hopefully I can find it in here. I use this this long needle here. I like it, a long one like that. You know, just, it really doesn't matter. It can definitely be shorter. That's the size I use, but it's not necessary for it to be that long. Anyway, I thread probably, I would say 4 times the width or the width of this. And I do that because I let this have longer strings when I'm done so that it can have little dangles on it. And I will do that and cut it off. I take a paper clip and I tie it on the end just one time, not a, you know, just not a knot, but just tie it on there. And that helps me not pull my string all the way through. All right, and then make sure I've got something to work with there. Now, the other thing that I did is I picked out some buttons that I want to put on the back, okay? And so the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to put 5 on each side, all right? The way you want to do this is you want to alternate the big ones so that, like on these two, that if they were side by side, they wouldn't fit. So I'd put one here, maybe there. So I put these out here, and I'm going to try and do these randomly through there in kind of the order that I want them, okay? So the way I'm going to do this is the front of my book. So I need page 1, the one that has page 1 in my first signature. And I think, is it this one? Nope, it's this one. Okay. So this is my first signature. This has my page 1, and I'm going to put it in the first set of holes that I've already made. So these holes will match up with those holes, okay? And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to take, just needs to go down. Okay, I am going to take my needle and I am going to go straight through the middle of the holes that I've already made. Okay, I don't know what's going on. I think they moved a little bit, so hopefully we'll get them all through. This is part of the reason why I have a big needle, so that I can put them through if I have to. They should fit really easily through there. There we go. Okay, so that it went through the middle. Okay, now I have to get it through the middle of my book. And this is how you can get things upside down real easy, because this can be turned around and then you put it in. So I'm putting it in the middle hole, okay, that I've already made. Okay, and I'm pushing it through. And this is where my paper clip usually comes in handy, because I pull it and it stays and it keeps it from going all the way through. Okay, so now I want to go up to the next hole, but if I'm putting buttons on this, guys, if I'm going to put it through this next hole, I have to put my buttons on now that are going to go there. So I'm going to pick, I think I'm going to pick this one. And I only go through 2 holes if it's a 4 hole. And I go through there like that. And don't worry about them being super tight. And I'm stringing. Now, granted, I'm putting 5 buttons, but they're going to go all the way up and down. Those 5 buttons are going to fit here. So I'm not putting all of my buttons up here, okay? So then I'm going to put maybe, let's just put a green one. Now here's my issue that I have is my needle will not fit through that buttonhole. So, but that's okay. This wax thread goes straight through it, no problem. It's very easy, and you'll find that a lot of these bigger needles aren't going to work with these buttons. But I just take my wax thread and I go right through there. I probably should cut that and make it a little bit easier to go through there. So I've done that. I just string the buttons as I want them. So I'm going to put, I have 5 buttons. So I'm going to put 3 on this side, and then I'll put 2 on that side because I'm going to have the big ones there. And then I'll put that there. Okay. And if I need another button, if I think it looks a little lonely over there, I can always add one. I don't have to have, you know, a certain amount. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so now I have my buttons on, and I have just basically strung them on there. They're not where they're going to stay. They're just put on there so that they will be on the back of my journal, okay? So then I'm going to take my, oh, here one of the buttons moved, needle and rethread it. So I have it back on there. My buttons are still attached, and I'm going to go ahead and go through my top hole just like I would if I was doing any other normal journal. Okay, so the only thing I've done, and you know that would work the same way if you decided you wanted to string beads or do whatever. So I'm going to go through the holes that I've already made. And I don't know why I'm having problems with this one, but I don't want to make a new hole. If that does happen, that's why I like this longer needle. Oh, it's just having trouble going through the vellum, I think. I just go and I lift my papers and I put them right on the hole so that I don't create a new hole. That's what you don't want to do, is create a new hole. Okay, so what's going on with the doily? It's not behaving right. Okay. Oh, I think this is the one that I did 2 holes in there. Okay, so there we go. So that's going to go through there. All right, if you look on the back, you're going to see that here are your buttons. Don't worry about them being in a permanent place, but you want to tighten them up a little bit and turning them over or whatever. But anyway, that's how you get your buttons on there. Okay, so now that we've gone through the top, okay, we're going to go through the bottom. We've gone through the middle and come out. We've put our buttons on. We're going to go through the bottom. Keep that in there, and it should pop through there pretty good. Okay, I'm going to unclip it now. I don't need it clipped anymore. Okay, so now I'm going through the bottom. Okay, and now I'm going to put my other buttons on. Okay, so this is the other 2 that I was going to put on, and I'm going to put this big one down here. Okay, and then I'm going to put a weight one, I think, right there. I could add another one, but I think I'm not. Well, is that going to fit? No. So because it's not going to fit through there, I'm just going to go ahead and string it like that. Go like that. And go ahead and do that, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up through. So I've got my 2 buttons on there. I'm not worrying where they are right now. I'm going to go back up through my middle hole, and do not split your string. You go through the middle hole, but you do not want to go split that string while you're in there. You want to go straight up through, and let's see. Let me hold this. I probably should have kept it clipped for at least until I got the middle through, but that's okay. We'll still get it in there. All right, now this is why I maybe should have kept it clipped. It would have gone through there easier, but what I'm doing, if you notice, if it doesn't go through there easily, then just go ahead and go through page by page and re-put your, the hole's already there, just put it through the hole that you already have, okay? And sometimes that's kind of hard because it'll want to come off. But you want to have enough give in there that it goes through. And I think we're good. I think it went all the way through. Hold on. All right, yep. Without splitting the other string, okay? You don't want to go through that other string. So we're all the way through there. Because if you do split it, what happens is you can't tighten it. Okay, so now's the point that you tighten it. All right, the white one went under there. Okay, so these are loose in the back right now. And in order to tighten it, what you're going to do is you're going to pull your string, okay? And that tightens them, and you put them where you want them. If you want to, you can put a tiny bit of glue underneath. Yeah, this one got loose again when I did that, so. Okay. I'm gonna have to tighten it first and then I think move them around. I may have split that. Uh-oh. Yeah, just at the very end. So yeah, that's why it's not tightening the way it should. If that happens, you may have to redo it, but I think what happened here is I did it right at the very, very end. Did I split it? I can't tell, really. I may have. Yeah, I did it right at the last page, so that's okay. But if you split the string somewhere in the middle, you're not going to be able to tighten this. Okay, so then that goes like that. So we're going to go ahead and tighten this up, and then we can move our buttons around. So what I do is I take that off, and it should slide off. Okay, and then I go put my string through one on the top. Just loop it through. And I loop it through the other side, and this just gives it some tension so that it will tighten. And I go like that, the opposite direction, tighten it, and then I tie a knot, okay? Actually, I tie a couple. All right, and then you will see that your buttons are nice and tight, okay? And your signature is nice and tight. And you can, at this point, you can move them where you want them, okay? And because it's wax thread, it moves pretty easy. But I'm going to leave them right there, okay? So that's how I put those buttons on. Now, you do the exact same thing for the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and sew in the other signature for the sake of time. And when that gets done, then we'll go ahead and move on to the next step, okay? Okay, so I went ahead and sewed in the other signature, and here's our buttons. And as you can see, they're nice and tight. You've got your signatures in there. Just do it the way that I did it, and you know, it's really not that hard to put these buttons in. It looks kind of complicated, but it's really not. Okay, so we've sewn in our signatures. We've put in on our corners. We have everything just about ready. This is what I do on my pages. This is totally optional, not necessary. I take lace, and I will take on all of my actual book pages, I take some lace, and I will go ahead and put lace all along each piece right there. Okay, so, you know, I just go in and I put some glue, and I don't sew it, mainly because of the fact that if you sew it, you're actually weakening the pages. And I do this mainly for two things. What it does is it kind of, here, let me erase the number 1 on there that we did. Okay, what I do when I do that, hopefully I'll get some glue out of this. What that does is it reinforces the ends of the pages, that if you're using an older book, they may be a little brittle. I'm not getting much glue there. But I basically just take that and I let it overhang a little bit. And I alternate my lace. I put different lace on, you know, different pages. You can do however you want if you want to do this. And like I said, you definitely don't have to. But what it does is it reinforces the page, and it also is kind of a tab for the page. So anyway, so then I just do that, and I alternate them all the way through the book. And what that will do, if you notice, see what happens? It overlaps here. So if there's any pages that aren't perfect, you're going to end up having lace going all the way down, just like that. And let me show you this one so you can see that I do that, okay? So that's how I do it. All the way down, and you can see the lace going through there, all these different laces, and it hangs out of the side of the book just a little bit, not a lot. I mean, it's not a huge thing, but it looks good, and it serves the purpose of making a tab. And I usually do it just on the book pages, so that when you go through here, if you pull up a piece of lace, you're going to the next page. Like, let's see if I do the next one. I'll go through here and find it. And not only does it reinforce the page, like you see, I'm using a different lace. It's not exactly the same. It's still white, but it's not the same. Oh, I didn't erase the number 2. Remember, we put our numbers in there because we were making sure that we kept them in order. And I just put a little glue, kind of smear it in there. Don't put too much. Okay. And I'll just put some lace on there, and I let it hang off the side of the page, so kind of like you would a tab. You know, and some will hang more than others depending how wide your lace is. I try not to cover any of the text when I do that, and usually you can because you have a little room. And that's where some people, what they do, they trim the pages back a little. I don't. I use it as a way to put the lace on, and then it hangs over, and it really, I think it looks pretty. And like I said, it does do that all the way through. Do one more, and then we're going to move on to the next part, because I think you guys will get it, right? Plus, I don't have any glue. I need to get more glue. I mean, I have more. I just don't have any open yet. So, let's see. We're going to use this one next. So, and I just get different laces and go, you know, that's all I do. I mean, you could put colored lace, you could put other trims, whatever you want to do. You could put ribbon. Okay, so as you can see, what that's done is we've got our little lace pieces, and when you close this book, any little tiny piece that was a tiny bit over or off, it sticks out of the side and you have lace showing. That's all you're gonna see is just the lace then. Okay, so that's one way of not only decorating it, you're reinforcing the pages, you're basically putting in a tab, you're doing all of those things with your lace on the sides. So I'm not going to do any more of those because I am going to try and show you the how to make a tassel real quick, because that's really the last thing. What I do is I just collect whatever kind of ribbons I think would look good with the cover and whatever material that I have. And I'm mainly going to use just Christmassy colors here. And I will make these right around, I would say, let's see. I'd say about 15 inches each. So I will take the first one, and I just use it to kind of give me a guide. I'll move this to the side. So I'm just going to take a bunch of different ribbon that I think will look good together, that has what I want in there, okay? And I'm just going to keep cutting them off to match that one. Okay. Not a big deal. There we go. And it doesn't matter if they're perfect right now. We're going to wind up trimming them. Okay. Let's see. I have some of this rickrack. I'll put some of that in there. And I think I have some green. I haven't opened this yet, so I'll have to do that. Okay. And let's see what else I have over here. I have this other green that I think would be cool. Put that in there. I like to put different textures in there, just to kind of make it, you know, look a little different. I'll put different, you know, colors. I think I had an off-white one in there, but I don't know what I did with it. Let me look over here. I have some Christmassy ones. Let me open those. Put that in there. So anyway, I'll collect enough of them to where I have a good mix of different things in there. I don't really have a certain amount that I use, but let's see what else I've got. Got a white one right here. Got a little bit more white, but I'm going to put some. There we go. Put that in there. And, you know, honestly, my ribbons are not always Christmassy colors. In my last tassel, I did it all of these colors, and it was mainly because this is what went with the cover. Okay, so just this one just happens to have Christmassy colors. So like I said, I try and, you know, to work with the cover. And then let's see, what other one should I put in there? I think right now what I'm going to do is add a little bit of, let me see, where's my gold? A little bit of this gold rickrack that I put on the side, just for fun. Okay, do that. Put that in there. And then I'm going to add some of this lace that I put in there. Maybe one more. Okay, and one thing that I love to put in there is I love to put a little bit of eyelash trim. So, I don't know, I just think it looks cool in there. Let me get this. I've got some red right here, and I think I'll put like a couple of those in there. And right here. Okay, that's too short to put in there. And then I'm going to use some white eyelash trim. I'm going to put one in there. I love using eyelash trim in my tassels. Okay, and then I'm going to use some eyelash trim to kind of tie it. All right, so, okay, so now that I've gotten, I think, enough, I think that'll be good enough. I'm going to go ahead and kind of even this up a little. I was kind of sloppy putting it together, at least on one end. Okay, and that way, if I do have pieces I cut off, they're bigger pieces, and so I use those a lot in my snippets and things like that. So I just kind of get them all bunched up in one side of my hand, like that. It doesn't really matter where they are because you can move them around later. Okay. There we go. That one fell out, so I'll put it back up in there. And like I said, it doesn't matter if they're perfect. Okay, so I've got them all lined up just like that. And now what I am going to use, I am going to use this little round ring that I have. And I've had those forever because for jewelry that I used to use. A bulb pin and then this little bowl clip here. You know, I got those in bulk. You can use any kind of round ring that you have. Doesn't have to be this. Okay, and what I do, let me move those aside. I don't need those yet. I'm going to take my eyelash trim and I'm going to put it straight up and down, and I'm going to try in the approximate middle of this here. And I'm going to go like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to take my eyelash trim and I am just going to tie that just like that. Okay, and I want it pretty tight, so I just had my tweezers out a minute ago. Here we go. I'm going to put this right here just to kind of hold it. All right, that helps me keep it tight. And then I'm going to go ahead and just tie a knot. All right, so I tied it tight. And I've got a nice knot. Okay, so this is what I end up with. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to take the end that I got all the pieces all together because it's easier to loop through. Kind of twist it a little bit, just makes it a little easier. And then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to take my ring and I'm just going to shove all these through there. And sometimes it takes a little doing, but you can do it. At first I thought you had to have a big one or a little clamp or whatever, but it's real easy. It goes through there. Get it to the middle, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your tassel and then here, get these strings that are off to the side. There should be two of them. Where did the other one go? Oh, they're both together. That's what the deal is. Okay, that's all right. It'll still work. You've got your two strings that are hanging there, okay? What I do is I kind of take my tassel and I basically just fold it in half or fold it together. This one keeps wanting to tangle up in there, so. And I just basically take it and go like this. All right, just like that. The top of this thing's up here. It makes it easier to hold. And go kind of like this, kind of smush it down. Okay, get it nice and tight. And then what I do is I take one of the strings of my tassel, now that this is nice and tight, and I'm going to take one of these strings and I just wrap it around the top part that I've made this little loop like that. Maybe about, oh, I don't know, 2, 3, well, I don't know, however much. That's why I make these really long, so that I can just do that, okay? And then you have the string right there. Then you take the other one and you do the exact same thing, the opposite direction, wrap it around, okay? And then you're going to have a string. And now that you've got them and you've gone opposite ways, all you're going to do is tie a knot, okay? With your two. It's kind of hard to see with the eyelash trim, but you're basically just going to tie a knot right here. And you don't really have to hold it tight because you've already wrapped it around there a bunch of times, but okay, so we're tying a knot right here at the top with our eyelash trim, and you want it, you know, tight, but it's already been wrapped around several times, and that's what kind of gives you that. Okay, so then those pieces just hang down just like all the rest of it. Okay, and then what I do at that point is I take my tassel and I kind of smush it down a little bit, get it all kind of together. And I will take my scissors and just kind of chop it, give it a haircut. Okay. Maybe make a little bit more. There's a few other pieces in there that need to be cut. And you just kind of give it a nice little haircut. Get it all kind of even. They don't have to be perfect unless you want them that way. You certainly can do that. Okay, leave that. All right, so there you go, guys. There's your tassel. You take your little pin. All right, that can go right through there. And then it can go right through the end, right through here. Put it on. And then, guys, you can just take it and clip it right on to your book, okay? That one's probably a little long. It probably needs a little bit more of a haircut. But that's how you do it. It's really easy. It's not a hard thing to do. So that's the end of the little golden book thing. Basically, all you would do after this is you would just finish putting your pieces of lace on. We've already done our, you know, our signature covers. And see how it is, guys? It will hang over all those pages. So it'll be kind of a cute decorative thing. You've got your corner pieces on. Oh, wait, I forgot. Forgot to show you the closure. Let's do that. Take that off for a second. On the closure, all I'm going to do is I'm going to put an eyelet here and an eyelet there. First, I'm going to punch a hole. And that's what this thing is for, so that you can get it the same width in. And maybe a little bit. You don't want it too far to the end because it can rip. It shouldn't with an eyelet, but you're better off putting it in just a tiny bit. I'm eyeballing the middle, which I'm usually not good at, but we're going to go right here. Okay, so I punched a hole in. And then on the other side, which is probably you should do this before you do the lace, I'm going to try and put that exactly in the same spot on the other side. And I usually hold it up so I can see where the hole is from this side to that side. And then I go back in and I can see it from this end. So that way I know I'm getting it in the same spot. Punch my hole. And then I am just going to take my eyelets, which I need to get out. Is that what I want to use those? No. Okay, let me get some eyelets out and then get a couple of gold ones I think would look good. So then you put your eyelet in, smush it, and you can, there's a lot of different closures you can put in these guys. This is just an easy one. Okay, so I did it on both sides and it's in the same place. So then the next thing I'm going to do is decide what I want for my closure. And I think I had some, let me see what I did with that. I gotta remember where I put it. Okay, here we go. I've got some seam binding and I think I'm going to use that. So basically what I do is I make it twice the length I need for each side, 2 times. And I usually end up doing it longer than I need to, but and I use seam binding. You can use ribbon. You can use anything you want. That's what I use. Okay. And then I just take it and put it through here, which usually my little pokey thing helps me. All right. Yeah, I did do that one a little long. And on that, you can just take it and go like this. And that gives you a nice little knot at the end. Okay. Or if you want to, you can take it and put both through. And this is usually how I do it. Take both pieces on the end and you put them both through. Okay, so we have both these pieces through. You go like that. You've got this loop. You go through here and then you go like that. Okay? So I'm probably going to do that one that way because I like to do it that way. I just think it looks a little nicer. Get this undone. Don't make this an ordeal. Here we go. Gosh. Well, if this becomes an ordeal, you saw me do the other one, so there we go. It is becoming an ordeal. It should not be. I have no idea why. I could just cut it and start over, but I really don't want to mess with it right now. In any case, guys, that's what you do. I'm going to go ahead and just tie this for now and redo it later so I don't waste any more time. But that is what you do. So that would be your closure. Those are really long. They need to be cut. But that's what you do. Here is your tassel, and you just at that point decorate your book however you want it, guys. That's it. That's all I got for you. Our next video, I'm going to be doing some quick things for presents. I'm not sure what order I'm going to do them in yet, but I will definitely let you know. And I will be doing my prize giveaway on Sunday. So stay tuned for that. I froze it at 1,300, but I'm going to do my giveaway on Sunday. Okay? So you guys take care, and I hope I get to see you, I guess on Sunday when I do my big prize giveaway. All right, and we will see you next time.